Well, we continue to follow that big breaking news. A shooting like our community has never seen. 7 San Antonio police officers shot last night. Now, they all survived. The man responsible barricaded himself inside of an apartment on Stone Oak Parkway, and that gunman is dead this morning.
We have learned he was arrested as recently as Saturday on charges. Right now, let's get to Fox 6's Tawny Davis live this morning with more on this investigation. Tawny.
Well, good morning. We have made our way inside into the apartment complex where this all happened. If you take a look behind me, you could see the window where police were able to bust their way in. That window is now completely shattered. But this all started after a family member of that 40-year-old man called saying that he was suicidal. And once officers arrived to help, that is when they were shot at. Now, this was around 8:30 p.m. last night at an apartment complex on Stone Oak Parkway and Sonterra Boulevard. According to Police Chief William McManus, when backup arrived, 6 other officers were also shot. SWAT officers were then immediately called in, and the suspect barricaded himself inside his apartment for several hours. Chief McManus says of the 7 officers who were shot at, 1 was hit in the lower part of their body and the other in the upper part of their body. They were both transported with non-life-threatening injuries, and so far no updates on the officers. SWAT evacuated neighboring apartments, and the police chief tells us what happened next.
The suspect barricaded himself inside the apartment for several hours. At the end of the event, the suspect was found to be deceased. We don't know if he was shot by a self-inflicted wound or whether or not shot by SWAT officers.
So the police are still here conveying the scene, waiting for ME to arrive. But police tell us that the suspect had 3 prior arrests, 2 for assault on officers and 1 for a DWI. He was out on bond at the time, but we will continue to follow this and bring you the latest updates as we learn more, both on air and online. Reporting live, I'm Tawny Davis. Back to you.
All right, Tawny, we'll check in with you soon. Thanks for that. One witness who lives there at the Sonterra Heights apartment says he just kept hearing shots when this was all happening. Listen.
I was in my room studying, and I just heard like a loud pop, and I didn't think much of it because usually I hear like noises all the time. Not all the time, but every so often around here. And so I just ignored it. And my mom lives with me, so she called me out to the balcony. When we went outside the balcony, we saw like 3 helicopters, 2 or 3 helicopters flying around, and literally, I say like 20 seconds after going on my balcony, I heard like a few more shots.
So let's recap this to make sure you know exactly what happened and when. So Chief William McManus says that officers responded to a suicide in progress call last night around 11 at the Sonterra Heights apartments in Stone Oak. That's after they got a call from the suspect's family. Well, about an hour later, the chief announced that 4 officers had been shot, all taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Then around 1:45 this morning, we had an update that the suspect had barricaded himself inside of the apartment. At that point, SWAT was on the scene working to get him out. Then around 2:45 this morning, the police chief announced on the SAPD Facebook page that the suspect had been found dead. Now, at this point, we don't know if he killed himself or if he was killed by SWAT. Now, the chief also announced at that time that it was 7 officers who had been shot. He did not say whether the injuries were minor, serious, or share how the officers are doing. Now, the chief says the suspect had 3 prior arrests, or he was arrested Saturday for 3 different charges, 2 for assault, 1 for DWI. And this morning, police say the scene is now secure.